right, we're live. It's another live stream. We have a guest on. We've hit the big time, and so I'll introduce Larry. Larry, last name, no last name. I don't know how we doing this. I don't know. You got
However you want.
secrets. And also, yeah, I'm very impressed. I made this awesome like little friendo GIF that sings notes in the bottom, so that's cool. All right, so if you are joining us on Facebook and you want to comment live, go to Music Room with Friendo on YouTube. And yeah, so we're talking. I don't want to say, Larry, I don't have any weaknesses as a music teacher. I'm perfect in every way. No one can teach me anything. I'm awesome, and all of that is completely untrue. But my biggest weakness is I don't know. I'm an old man, and I'm getting older, and I'm less relevant, and I don't understand how the world works anymore. And I still have a CD player in my car, and I know nothing. I like the look of shock on your face, right?
I do too. I have a six CD changes.
Oh. So I mean, yeah, I when it comes to pop music, I just I stopped whenever Britney Spears was popular. Like that's at the point of like I was relevant and I knew at least what was going on, even if I didn't listen to it. And it's like gone now. I don't know it. So the question is the actual topic, as I just randomly say stuff. Go to the banners. So the official topic for today: what makes the perfect pop song for a children's concert? I think that's fairly concise. And Larry, what's your experience with students coming to you and saying, "Hey, I want to do insert this song you've never heard of," or maybe you have. I mean, if you want to give yourself maybe a little background on yourself, but yeah, we can dive right in. Whatever you want to do.
Okay, yeah, sure. So I know you through college. We went to school together, and have been out in this world of music ed now for it's getting to be over a decade, isn't it? So if you can imagine. So I'm there with you. I mean, obviously, I believe you're a little older than me, but I'm there with you in terms of like, do I have the pulse of the young generation as much as I did 10 years ago? Maybe not. But I teach general music as you do. I'm not an all around guy though. I have had experience in some jobs with that. But
which grade levels do you teach, and which grade levels do concerts? And if you want to,
right. So my current position is K to 6 general music. We have pre-K, but they basically get like music together. They're teachers. It's a whole different kind of schedule. So
just to clarify, music with the pre-K is taught by the pre-K teachers. Okay, which is often a thing.
Yeah. And then K to 6, I do general music, and as well as the chorus, which is a 4, 5, and 6 grade level thing. So we end up combining it. Usually, it's a whole kit and caboodle, all grades in together, 4, 5, 6. We don't do any kind of kindergarten show that I put on. There's a history before the pandemic of kindergarten does a certain Christmas show with the teachers leading it, and I try to assist a little bit. But similar way of other grade levels too, do their own thing. But for me, I'm just chorus. There's a band teacher who does 4, 5, and 6 as well at our school, and so we essentially are putting on 2 concerts a year, winter and spring. Sometimes we have some other events, like you and I were talking before this. We have some other events every now and then that the parent organization might fundraise for or what have you, and we sing a couple tunes to that. But
so what are your concert obligations? So from September to June, you are.
So yeah, we have a winter and a spring, as I said. So that's basically it. I mean,
all which grades are performing, and all the grades in the.
Yeah, so it's just the chorus and band, and so if he has a,
one big mixed chorus, third, fourth, and fifth grade,
I just do a mixed chorus generally. I've done a couple years where it's been all right. We have a 4th grade song, 5th and 6th grade song, something like that. But generally, I'm doing it. Okay, we're 4, 5, and 6 is doing all the same pieces.
So you got 4, 5, 6, 2 concerts. Doing the stuff. Yeah, I mean, my schedule is a little bit different in terms of the concert schedule. So yeah, basically I have K and 1 and then a mix in the winter time, and then a mixed group, and then I do 2nd grade and then another mixed group. It's a little bit different. I like the K through 1 concert. It's just, you play some music K through 8 tunes and you're good to go. And the kids, they're like super into it. So,
Absolutely, yeah.
So
So what? Getting back to your question, you
yeah,
said, what do I do, or what have I encountered when there's kids who go, I want to do this song? Well, it depends on the song. And I think
right.
that's a lot about what we're going to talk about tonight, right? It depends on if I can find an arrangement of it for copyright purposes. It depends on if, we are doing it for a specific musical purpose as well, or if it's
Mm,
just, hey, this kid really likes it.
yeah. So when you say
You know,
musical purpose, why don't you expand on that?
okay, yeah. So generally, I try not to just program a piece for its own sake.
Hmm.
Um, I try to find pieces that, and by its own sake, I mean like, all right, this is "Let It Go" from Frozen for the 15th time in a row the same
Hmm.
week that we're gonna sing. The song for the fact that it's just "Let It Go." No, but like, is there something musical that like we can learn about within that song? Then that songs might be on the list.
Yeah.
So it depends on that for me. So it's not just a matter of um, what we're what's the latest flavor of the month, but it's
Hmm.
also can the students learn something that's age appropriate, that's musically relevant to my program? Because with the limited amount of concerts I do have, it's just like how we don't want to teach to the test. They don't want to teach to the performance and that be it. So we have very limited time, as everybody could say, no matter what profession, very limited time to get a lot done in. And so I'd prefer to like hit a bunch of different concepts, a bunch of different skills, um, in addition to the carrot of this is a really popular song. I really
Popular
want to
song
do
that the
this.
kids, yeah.
Yeah,
And obviously, I think one of the advantages is if it's a mega song, like well, there's advantages and there's disadvantages, but if it's a mega song that kids already probably know it and have already practiced it 10,000 times, and of course, obviously, sometimes you're fighting against that because you're like, oh no, well, this version does this, and it's like and you almost can't unlearn or learn those sort of things. So yeah, let's bring out our list of I made a list. It's a checklist of 5 things that end up making a song either appropriate or inappropriate. So we're gonna just pop that up here. Because no, I don't want to remove myself. That would be terrible, and that would be the end of the stream. Um, so this is the pop song checklist, right? So when I say appropriate, I mean obviously there's vulgarity and things like that, but I mean that's a sort of a different level of things. But those things where you've said, "I'm sorry, we can't do this song because," or "I don't want to do the song because of this," and I don't know, maybe we'll pick a couple of songs, we'll score them or something like that. So I have, and of course, add on, and a reminder: if you're on the Facebook live stream and you want to jump on over to YouTube and pop a question in, you certainly can do that. So attribute 1, musical qualities. So by that I mean like, what is the range of the song? If it's especially "Let It Go" is probably a good example of it's a difficult song to sing. It's a difficult key to sing it in. Arrangements are certainly interesting when you come by them. But then also the opposite thing happens. I think we all remember when the Whip and Nene was popular, and there's not a lot to do with that for a choral setting.
yeah, that is true. There are oftentimes a lot of the most popular songs are almost like recitative, where it's like a 2-note jam. Not only just a 2-chord jam, but a 2-note jam.
So
Sometimes it's a
what you're
2-note
saying with
jam
this,
over 1 chord.
what you're saying with this recitative is they're going back to the
Like
Baroque style
singing
of
talk. Oh
opera.
yeah, yeah, no, yeah, just the singing talk. I mean,
Yeah,
to be frank, I mean there are some popular artists now that the singing that's happening is more of a quality of voice
yeah.
than it is a melodic contour.
Do
So the
you
shape of the melody isn't as varied. It's more just dun 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 dun, dun like something like that.
George Vanderbilt? Now this is why it's big to have the live stream, because these are the sort of questions. What's up, George? So how about Ball with the Ball by Kid Rock? That we'll you know what? We're gonna put that in the ranking of the lyrical content and the perceived innuendo and all that stuff. So I'm gonna hide that for now, but we're definitely gonna talk about that, right? So yeah, I mean, musical qualities. Is it somewhat musically rich, or is it the whip and nay nay, which does not work in a choral setting?
Right,
Right.
we're talking about that. We're talking about a performance setting for elementary school.
Yeah, and that's where again,
Do a
don't get
line
me wrong.
dance. That's something.
You want to
Right.
dance? It's a great tune. Also, I mean, I mean, there's so, and that's not to say that there isn't. So let's clarify. There's probably musical value in everything. Yeah, I mean, I'm I just ran through the Rolodex of it. I mean, something will almost always have some sort of musical value. This is in the idea of Larry helping me out, figure out what tune I'm going to do, where the kids are going to go, I love that song, and maybe it's not like 30 years old. So you have the lyrical content. So obviously, being an elementary school teacher, for me, if there's even any obviously curse word or there's the clean version, it's out, it's done, it's a no go. I mean, I don't know about you on that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's undue stress in an already like stressful time to prepare for like a show, to worry about how will it be received, or to like, oh, let me get the okay by the principal. Like it's part of our professional like oh my gosh, I just lost the word. We can discern whether or not it's something that should even be approached. I think that's the best way to say
it is funny. I'm sure you probably
Discretion.
noticed this, and not to speak poorly sometimes of the grade level teachers, but there's stuff that they'll do with their class, and I just go, I would never touch the song ever. I'm not part of this. I'm backing up, and and it's fine, and they know their class better. When I think when you have a mixed group, it's a little bit more difficult. I mean, if you know the group, right? But there's always been,
yeah. And
maybe the
also,
occasional, not so much in recent years, but there's been stuff where you go,
well, I mean, the other side of it too is whether you're just having your performance during the school day or not, it's in the evening as well. I mean, we're putting on public performances, which is basically representing the school.
yeah.
Now, I don't know if you're referring to that with regards to the grade level teachers, but like generally things I've encountered like that has been something, okay, they're doing that in their classroom.
Mm-hmm.
And while it's still a public school or what have you, I mean, because we both teach in public schools,
Yeah.
Just to be clear, it doesn't hold that same weight where it's like, we just put this out in front of hundreds of people that have all their own,
own values and own opinions, and that's
values, exactly.
And that's the important thing. Everyone has their own values, and you try to cast the biggest net that allows everyone to express their own values, and that's the name of the game as far as being a music teacher. The other thing I have is perceived innuendo. I remember when the song "What Does the Fox Say," when that was like the popular thing, people were saying it was about mind-altering substances. I have no clue if that is true, but I don't think anyone ever got to the bottom of that. Feel free to put in the comments if they ever got to the bottom of that. But I remember that just being a thing. You would say, "Oh, you can't do that song because this," and I'm like, "Is it? I don't know." It seemed just like a silly song, and obviously every kid was like totally into that. I don't know, 8 years ago, whatever it was. All right. So I mean, I think you know what I'm talking about with that. And then the character of the artist, which is always a little dicey, where people are people, and obviously sometimes there's where you separate the artist from the music. I mean, we can name plenty of classical composers that probably should never be.
Well, right, and there's been in the public forum, even in the last 5 years, different people who've been brought up that have been popular artists within the last few decades who their character of them, especially with the culture we have nowadays, some people are like, nope, definitely not ever going to listen to that person's music again. Yeah. And obviously that's beyond, I think, the scope we would ever even consider to be, part of it. But what you're getting on the character of artists, yeah, I mean, there could be something you never, like we said, there's so many different values represented in our student population that some parents might find it important to really look into every artist that is being sung. And if it's a popular song, it's much easier to do that in, and it's much more well known. So it's easier for one to get in trouble if they did not use their discretion and didn't know enough about the person who, created the work that their their students are gonna perform.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just being mindful of that stuff. I agree is important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would agree. And then at least my last attribute for the pop song checklist, does the content make sense for the age? And the best example of that ever is I usually ask when I had more of a mixed chorus time. What are some songs that you like? This and that. Try to think of things with positive messages. And the example I always work on, it checks every single box. Musically, the song is fantastic. Lyrically, the song is fine, right? The perceived innuendo is 0, and the character of the artist is stellar. And the song is "Isn't She Lovely" by Stevie Wonder. And you go, wouldn't that just be a fantastic song for the children to do?
Love
However, it doesn't.
That sax solo.
Or is that harmonica?
Is it? Oh wait, it is a harmonica. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, don't get. Yeah, I mean that is a
Mhm.
that is a slamming solo. More people should transcribe that just because that is. I mean, it's Stevie Wonder. Now the problem is I go, this is perfect. I told the kid, yeah, we're totally going to do that. I start looking at the lyrics. It's about an adult, a full grown adult, loving couple that have a child. It doesn't make sense lyrically to be coming out of the mouth of fifth graders because it's creepy. So all of a sudden you say it doesn't make sense, got to cut it. So I don't know. Do you have any other things that you would add to what makes a song, what makes the perfect pop song for a children's content?
No, not necessarily, but I guess going off of your attributes to look back at them again. I mean, you already kind of touched on the quality or the musical qualities. We talk about, oh, well, you kind of don't want this. So, what do we want? We want things like maybe a variety. Maybe there's a key change, a change in tonality where they take the coda up and, up a half step or something. And so there's many musical moments there to discuss and, study. Most pop songs have a similar roadmap. So things like, working on those repeated sections and identifying those things in the score. Okay, when are we going to go to the coda, or do we have to sing the bridge again? Those kinds of things, you can talk about based on, the roadmap, the musical qualities, lyrical content, and perceived innuendo. I'll leave the innuendo alone, but lyrical content.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about you. I don't necessarily do themes for my shows. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, but it's never really we are doing, Broadway or I don't know. There's so many themes that people say, oh, I'm going to do this theme. I'm going to do that. And to me, I'm just not a big themes person with regards to
I'm the same way. I feel a lot of the themes always tend to be shoehorned in.
Yeah. And I find while maybe some people find it's easier to then limit themselves because there is such a wide variety of music out there that you could choose from. For me, lyrical content is more about that positive message, overall vibe of the song with regards to what the meaning behind it is, like you were just referring to, that whole does it make sense for the age? While that wasn't a negative meaning or connotation, it certainly was not appropriate for the students. So, depending on what the goal is, I might need to find a song that kind of links in with the message. Maybe I discover that all of my pieces for the given concert is kind of interwoven within.
Yeah, I think sometimes the theme starts to develop. So this is just a reminder, if you are on Facebook, because we're on StreamYard right now, we can't see comments. So if you're suggesting songs for us to kind of go over the pop song checklist, we can't see it. So if you want to hop on over, that's fine. Or, we certainly get back to you. So thank you, George Vanderbilt. And if you're currently on the YouTube stream, definitely, pop a tune in there. So George Vanderbilt, we know George. We love George, who is getting it started with Ball with the Baw by Kid Rock. All right. So, it's it's funny. Okay, so let's take this seriously for a second. Because this is always the first question. Would I lose my job for doing Ball with the Ball by Kid Rock? And I have a feeling the answer might be no, because I haven't researched the lyrics. You know what? I'm going to
I'll do that right now while you're talking.
all right, so we're gonna really analyze Ball with the Ball.
Oh, I do know
okay,
this
so let's
song.
talk about the musical
I never
qualities.
knew the title.
Okay, so musical qualities. I don't know. At a scale of 1 to 10, I'm gonna give it a 5. Like I'm not a fan of Mr. Rob Ritchie. You know, Veronica Ann.
So,
Yes.
John, I'll just interrupt you for a second.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think we would program this song with.
You don't think we programmed the song?
Oh,
okay.
certainly not. Certainly not. Lyrical content.
The lyrical content immediately is just getting it kicked out, right?
Innuendo. We don't even need to go there. So
right, yeah. So it's on the surface. Character, the artist, yeah. Rob Ritchie is Rob Ritchie. He's he's been in the news. And does the content make sense or the age? So the lyrical content immediately knocks it out, right?
Right.
So there we go. We're gonna immediately say, we will not be doing George. I'm sorry, we're not doing Ball with the Ball by Kid Rock.
Unfortunately, you come down to the public school, you're not gonna.
Yeah, I mean, listen
to that song with us.
Now you don't know this. I mean, Larry, you know George, right?
Yes.
George, incredibly talented guitar player, and also currently teaching at Rowan Community Music School. Guitar, ukulele, all that good stuff. And George is, I don't want to say one of the few people, but George has, I don't know, something like 60 private students or something like that, or 60 private lesson students, right, through different shops and different avenues and stuff like that. So yeah, George is an extremely knowledgeable.
He's got his finger on the pulse.
I don't know, George. If you're still on, you got to say if you know any of the songs, or he probably knows songs because kids come to him and say. I mean, that's how. When it comes to pop tunes, and again, I'm just completely unknowing of the pop world, and that's not like by choice. It's not like I have an issue. It's just I don't have it on my radio. It just happens to not be in any of my social media feeds. I don't understand pop music. I don't get it. And I'm not saying I shouldn't get it. It does not come into contact with me because I've somehow isolated myself from the universe. But usually if I know a pop tune, it's because I'm having a private lesson with somebody and they say, hey, I'm really interested in this song. I almost never heard of it. I forget what it was, some Taylor Swift song. I couldn't even tell you what it was. Like I know the one, the haters gonna hate, Shake It Off. I know that one.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
There was a song where she was singing, but long story
short,
short,
hella in it.
One of the teachers could not believe. Insert, I'm sure, whatever #1 hit for 50 weeks. Mentioned a Taylor Swift song. I said, I don't know what that is. Believe it or not, it's just I'm not in that sphere anymore. But if you want to talk about Baroque music, all about that. Okay, so let's get another tune up. Veronica Ann, if you want to suggest a song that we could kind of talk about the thoughts of, I'll give you a tune, Larry. I'm going to say this song. Actually, Larry, let me ask you a question. What is the song that would score the highest on this pop song checklist for an elementary school concert? What's your pick?
If you asked the kids right now, they would tell you we don't talk about Bruno.
I heard that today.
Yeah. So finally. I watched it. I watched that movie Encanto last weekend or the weekend before because the hype was alive, right? I've got 6th graders saying they were singing it in their class while they're doing their work in ELA, things like that. None of them actually asked me before I started considering it. But then, one finally did approach me. I'm like, oh, okay. And I always just leave it as like, oh, all right. Thanks for telling me kind of thing. I never really commit. Learn the hard way in some ways. I don't really have a funny story, but kind of just, realized, let me make sure, as you said before, do due diligence and all this. So while they say, let's do that song, I'm still not sold on it yet because unfortunately there's no 2-part arrangement of it. And I try and stick with 2-part, especially with this year. We're
So you
probably
wouldn't just throw it as, I mean, I'm assuming there's a 1-part arrangement. There's no 1-part arrangement that you would just say, whatever.
See, I will only purchase like if it's arranged for choral. I in one position, a sub position I had before, I did one tune, like it was a Michael Jackson tune that was like a piano voice guitar book. But I don't know. I feel like it's more appropriate that I actually do an arrangement that was intended for a large group performance, especially with a Disney tune. So with regards to that, it might be a little tough with regards to the range. But that's what the kids would say. Now, I have some other answers to your question, but before we go there, maybe we can address Veronica's idea first.
Which has Elton John from Dua Lipa, is that the Elton John mashup?
It is.
Okay. Man. So this is what happens. Veronica Ann is the 5th grader. She says, I want to do Cold Heart by Dua Lipa. And it's like, okay, I've heard Dua Lipa. My 4-year-old likes Dua Lipa. And then I remember saying, oh, this is an Elton John mashup song with Elton John contributing, I believe.
I think so.
Also, thank you, Carlos. Thank you. We appreciate it.
I believe he's actually singing it, like he's singing some parts, new. They're not just sampled. Because I believe, so what's happening is I think she's singing Rocket Man and he's singing Cold Heart.
Yeah.
That's what's happening, I think, in that song. And it just is so, let's repeat the same part again and again and again and again.
Well,
you got one more time. No. It just keeps going over and over.
Veronica Ann says, yes, he is. Elton John is also actually singing on. It's not some, okay. Yeah, he was involved. So so that's the one thing I don't think kids sometimes realize. It's like, if you take out the club dance beat and it's a choral arrangement, it loses a lot of thunder real quick. And by the 3rd time the chorus goes in, you go, oh man, this is happening again. I think they tend to learn. Well, I think didn't you have I believe you were mentioning previously when we were talking something about a story with the students wanting to do, was that you or was it somebody else? Somebody basically doing a pop tune and then realizing, oh, this doesn't have the same amount of juice.
I think, yeah, it was me. We were talking about, so it was a High School Musical tune that we wanted to do. And as I said, we only do winter and spring concerts, but sometimes there's other things, like we have a sports night. And, I've got some standards tunes that have like a sports vibe to them or like a sports theme. But, this year I was like, okay, let's see if there's anything else to add. I wanted to change it up because, you get bored yourself as well. So the kids were like, oh, yeah, we should do this song from High School Musical. So get your head in the game. And I'm assuming, I think it's Zac Efron or whatever, who is
Zac Efron, I believe.
Yeah. I honestly have never watched them. I don't know if that makes me a bad or good music teacher, but
You've never watched a High School Musical?
Yeah, I've never watched any of them.
I think you know what? If you like High School Musical, you like High School Musical, and if you've never seen High School Musical,
yeah, I mean, like I have nothing against it, and I haven't yet been asked to play a gig for like the live, version of it yet. So I'm sure when that happens, I'll enjoy it if I do. But yeah, so they were like, oh, this will be awesome, this will be awesome. But much so like there is in so much pop now, like you have different effects, you have different arrangements with regards to the electronic music that's being used or pumped through, or the backing vocals are like, amazingly, full and rich and whatever it might be.
Mm-hmm.
The tune itself is okay. So I purchased it and played the performance track that the publisher provides, that you can just pull up on JW Pepper or what have you. And the kids were like, what is this song? Like they had no idea what the song was.
This is not the song I wanted, sir.
They're like,
please.
This, like, it was almost one of those where it has the title, but it's certainly not what we're talking about. But it was what they were talking about. It just made no sense to them. And I was like, well, we're scrapping that because it was not, not worth it.
You bought it. Then be like, okay, this was a bust.
I did.
Great.
I did. It was a shame. And then I never got around to returning it. You know, it was in the window. So now I've just got like, you know, a stack of 25, 35.
35
Yeah,
get
you
your head
know,
in the game, High
whatever.
School Musical. Well, you know, I mean, it's I get it. So as far as the Dua Lipa thing, so yeah, the musical qualities change when it's all of a sudden it's adjusted for chorus. Lyrical content, I believe it's fine. I haven't looked it up. It's probably better than Ba with the Ba.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine overall. Like Cold Cold Heart, Hardened by You. I mean, if you're doing it with upper elementary school, you know, like sixth or even like, you know, middle school, sixth grade, seventh grade, like they gravitate towards like the emotional things
Yeah,
at
which
times
makes sense. I mean,
well.
they're nothing but emotion at that age.
Right.
Right. I don't think that there's any currently, parents aren't saying, oh, well, that song's about insert this. And again, that's what the perceived innuendo is. Parents are saying, oh, that song's about this, or, and you just go, I don't think so. But apparently, it's, you got to throw it out because of that. Character, the artist, I believe. I mean, I haven't heard of Dua Lipa doing anything where you go like, oh no, that's bad. I don't know. But I think the general idea with me in terms of the character of the artist, if I'm not aware of anything, any character issues of the artist, I imagine most other people aren't aware of, so unless someone's like, the bad boy of, whatever it happens to be, the bad boy of R&B, you go, okay. So, and then does the content make sense for the age? Older, maybe. Because it seems like it's about just somebody almost being ghosted, and I could be wrong on that.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's kind of interpretive, right? Like, so Cold Cold Heart, Hardened by You. Some things look better, baby, just passing through. So like that's the one part, really, basically. That's just going to be repeat ad nauseum. The other part is, and I think it's going to be a long, long time. The little the hook from Rocket Man.
Rocket Man, yeah.
So
I heard that one.
Right. So it's kind of like, I don't know. I don't think it's meaty enough, if that's the right word. There's not enough meat on the bone.
Yeah.
Of the song, like the foundation of the song.
So what you're basically saying, and so if we were gonna rate this, like musical qualities, you're putting like a 4 or 5.
It's fine, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's in the. So basically, you're not clamoring to do it. There's no reason why you say I wouldn't do this unless you High School Musical yourself and then realize that the song. I think that one wouldn't quite have the same issue. I mean, you could probably do that with a. Actually, I got to be honest with you. I think if you did it with just piano, it would be a little bit on the weaker end. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you would probably use the backing track, but depending, even if there is an arrangement out there, which I don't know if there is, I could look it up, but I don't know, because I actually would doubt any of my students would ask for that song. Not that they wouldn't enjoy it or they don't enjoy it, but I just don't think that's one that they're clamoring for.
Well, and that's the thing I think for the students, for it's because there's two different versions of being relevant. There's mega hit, every kid wants to do it, and will like roll on the floor until and throw a tantrum until they get it. And then there's like, oh, okay, yeah, I've heard this, and then like you're introducing it. So let's see what else you got.
Yeah, so
I mean,
just in line with that, briefly, because I have, like I said, I've got some more ideas to share with regards to tunes. But the going back to that one where I bought it and it just kind of went away. It's also like the whole, you mentioned it at the top of this. Are they going to know the song too well that whatever you purchase, are you going to make that choice to just let them sing it the way they know it? Or are they going to sing the tune the way it's arranged? Because that's another thing to consider.
Yeah.
What is my overall goal, right? Yeah. So sometimes with pop songs, it's not a bad idea to find a tune or two that is a little older.
Like
so
how
stylistically, it's still intriguing to the kids, but it's not necessarily it came out March 2022 and now we're going to do it March 2022, because with that time having passed a little bit, they like the song still, or maybe they don't know it as well, but they'll be more apt to learn it appropriately. So case in point, this Saturday we have the All South Jersey Elementary Choral Festival at Washington Township, and our good buddy Eric McLaughlin is guest conducting that. One of his pieces that he chose was Fireflies, the Owl City tune. You would not believe your eyes if 10 million fireflies. The hook is, I'd like to make myself believe. Veronica probably knows it. Ask her. Anyway, that
I got it. Yep.
Right. That was
all right. That's somewhere. That was in the back of my head somewhere.
It was like early 2000s, wasn't it? Like, it probably was. I don't know. I have to look it up. But anyway,
Larry's asking the wrong person.
Clearly. So that's one of the. I'm asking all the other people who are watching, John, obviously. Yes, Stacey knows it. Yeah, that. I mean, I think that was like early 2000s or something. But the sixth graders I had preparing to do this festival on Saturday, which is 5 kids from participating schools all get together with other kids from the participating schools, and they rehearse as one big unit and sing a concert that evening. So there's a bunch of other rap, but every single time I've met with them to help them prepare, because they're supposed to kind of do it on their own as much as they can. But to help them prepare, it's always requested since we've done it the first time. And they didn't know the song at first. They're like, Fireflies? Like, wait. And then like that, even the performance, example that is provided, the vocal tracks, they recognize the tune a little bit. And then I played a bit of the, original, popular version. And then they're like, oh, wow. And I mean, it was like picked up so quick, and they just want to sing it every time. All the time. Every time. It's 2 parts. There's slight harmony. It's not like crazy harmony. There's only so much you could kind of put into that song harmony-wise, vocally.
Yeah.
But it just fills out the chords here and there a little bit with the 2 parts. And hey, I mean, they love it. Do you want me to keep going with some other tunes, or you want to talk about that a little bit, or what?
Okay, let's sure, you name a tune, and
I mean, I can always just text you these later, but so rapid fire. I mean, a couple years ago we did 2 songs from The Greatest Showman. Again, getting on.
I learned that is a movie today.
Yes.
Or Alex Bond had mentioned that it's a movie.
Musical, yes, a musical movie
with Wolverine. So now I'm all caught up to speed.
Right, Wolverine hits that high F that I cannot hit. I'm like, I wish I did it.
He's a talented dude.
Yeah, I'll say. I don't know about when he was. What was he, Jean Valjean, or it was he in Les Mis?
I didn't like that entire. Now it's. I'm going to get.
No, it wasn't.
Up.
I'm
not a huge musical fan. Sometimes musicals really strike me as but Les Mis is one of the ones I liked, or I like, and I have to admit, I just don't understand how that was done so poorly. That Les Mis with it was everybody. It was everybody.
There was the whole thing of they're recording it on set. Like a lot of other ones are studio record it and dubbed over, and that was like the whole wow, look, they're doing it differently. It's more live and. So I think it was popped up that way, and
that makes sense. Just a reminder, if you're checking us out on Facebook, if you want to hop on to YouTube, if you have a song that you want us to put through the pop song checklist, that'd be good. But so The Greatest Showman.
Yeah, a couple other quick ones. Some Broadway tunes. Most of these the ones we just talked about, I purchased separately. But the ones I'm going to reference now were mostly part of a Music Express subscription, which was a Hal Leonard publication that they since discontinued, unfortunately. John Jacobson was the head of that for a while. So My Shot, which was from Hamilton. There's a version that cuts out a lot of the additional rapping that, is going on in that if you've watched that movie. So they loved that. Seize the Day, another Broadway tune. You Will Be Found by Dear Evan Hansen. I don't know if everybody would choose to do that movie, that musical's content, That song itself is, it's basically like anti-bullying.
Yeah.
Kind
Well,
of
I guess it's
that
interesting because
way.
that one kind of goes on the, almost like the, I don't want to say innuendo. Innuendo doesn't necessarily need to be,
Right.
but like, you just go, okay, well, but the song's about this. However, in the movie, there's also this, and
Right.
obviously
So
you
it's
need to be
just
sort of a steward
exactly
of piety. So if
right.
you go, oh, kids got to go home watch the movie, and then it's like, oh,
Yeah.
Mr. Larry told me to watch this.
So I had, like I referenced before, there was another position I was in before this one that the teacher that was there, I'd been substituting for them, and they had been doing a the theme again themes. So it was like an 80s theme. So there's Ghostbusters. There's an arrangement of Ghostbusters. That's exciting. The kids love Ghostbusters still. And now, I mean, now there's a resurgence of it anyway.
Oh man, it was funny because Patrick Finnerty, who is he has a series called "What Makes This Song Stink," which is fantastic. It's because it really breaks some things down on his most recent video. He's talking about some songs that have taken, so for people who aren't aware of, the Ghostbusters theme song is basically a direct ripoff, intentionally a direct ripoff of "I Want a New Drug" by Huey Lewis and the News. And of course, as Pat Finnerty has stated, basically which is like such a good part where you go, oh man, that's better than the original. So like, yeah, ripped it off, but it has some other things, and there's a reason why, aside from it being associated with Ghostbusters, I mean, like that's the song that people prefer to this day.
Right. Yeah. See, I did not know that history or that connection with it. And like I said, this was somebody else already had chosen. We're doing it. I'm like, all right, we'll do it. Same thing with like Footloose. I was like, all right, I'll do that, I guess. I have not programmed either one of those songs where I am currently. We have done like boom whacker play alongs to Ghostbusters and stuff, but like did not know about that. Moana, when that was popular, there was like We Know the Way. That was another arrangement that was in the Hal Leonard thing. Generally, like I said, there's a few others I could rattle off, but generally, pop tunes, it's few and far between for me, and not necessarily because I don't want to do the legwork of looking everything up, or because I don't value it, but because honestly, like I have to attribute some money, like in my budget, to purchasing that stuff, and I would prefer to utilize content that is already geared towards the elementary levels. So like I have a subscription to Music K-8. Like I said, that's a Plank Road publication, and there's like 5 to 6 issues. You referenced it already. I'm guessing you use it as well.
My subscription has run out. I feel I've gotten enough of the, well, I really like a lot of things in Music K through 8. A lot of the stuff, it's funny, within 5 seconds you can go skip.
Yes.
There's a lot of good. I mean, I've always said if I feel like I can genuinely enjoy a song, the students will get into it. But I think if I did anything that I just genuinely didn't like, they would catch on that. It's like, hey guys, we're gonna do a song called Candy Cane Lane.
Right. Well,
that may be the worst Music K through 8 Christmas song.
I actually know exactly what song that is that you're talking about.
Oh, it's
I came across that one. I'm like, no, thank you.
Music 8, yeah. So yeah, if people who aren't
other
familiar,
ones,
when you get these different music publications, and Music K through 8 comes, five editions a year, and different seasons and things like that. And most of the stuff is really, really solid. And every so often you listen to a song, and I appreciate this because every so often you need a song that's like, okay, we're going to talk about STEM or something like that. Right. And it's, because, it's something. So it almost, all the stuff almost always serves a purpose, even if it's like, well, I would never do this, but if I had to, I'm glad this song exists.
Right.
So, yeah,
we have the big reading initiative, guys. Let's pull out the song. Read, or something like that.
I mean this. I don't know. I mean, I know no one from the Music K through 8 people. I have zero doubt. Sometimes they're like, okay, I'm going to just basically, I'm not going to overthink this, and I'm just going to just sit at a piano, and I'm going to try to bang out a song called Read, in the next 7 minutes.
Well, and don't get me wrong. I mean, it's solid content, like you said.
No, yeah, no, it's good.
They're just, I think it's just a variety of tastes. So like going back to that again, like I'm glad you brought that up. Like it's the same thing with the pop tunes though. Like you're like, I don't really know these tunes. So, you know, if you're as the director, if your heart's not in it to his extent, or if like you don't buy in yourself, no matter how good the song is, like we were talking about the musical qualities or content, no matter how good that is, the kids aren't going to jump onto it unless you're like invested.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be into it. You got to be like, this is a great song. We're gonna make great music. Because I think that's the bottom line. Kids want to make great music.
Yeah.
If you sound good, you know, the song could be fun, but a song's really fun when you're singing it well and it sounds great. You know, and same thing with band music. That will be a topic for another day. Doing arrangements of songs that are considerably more difficult. Like when everyone wanted to do Uptown Funk. It's like, oh, we'll do like a band arrangement of Uptown Funk with the 5th grade, and you go, wow, this is not as good. And of course you run into the issue of it's a pop song, so people know it, and then you're judged by a different metric.
That reminds me. I know we have to get going, but that just reminds me of the last instrumental position I was in. Somebody wanted me to do a Stevie Wonder tune. Was it Stevie Wonder? Yeah. Dun 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 dun, dun with 5th and 6th graders.
Sir Duke, right?
Yes, Sir Duke with 5th and 6th graders, who like most of which were beginners. Like
this child just put together a flute last week, and you want them to play that.
But well, hey, I mean, I understand the vibe and oh man, let's get them doing that because it's like let's get the place rocking. Kids will love it.
It's got horns in it. Yeah, why not?
They would love it, but it just is. Can it make sense for that age? So
yeah.
But yeah, so I do a lot of just to wrap up the choral. I try to find this year. I purchased, and I haven't used a lot of it yet, but I purchased some book collections, songbook collections like that are intended for reproducible books.
Yeah,
like that's the way to go for elementary. And sometimes there's a reproducible book of a few different pop tunes, which again are maybe older, but doesn't mean it's not something worthwhile to go for. Like if it's an older tune, it's got the poppy vibe or the style, the kids might still be like, yeah, this is cool. Because
it's different in a choral setting as opposed to like, okay, we're going to be singing a 3-part round.
Right.
Listen, I think that only the music of Bach should be done in concerts, and everything after 1750 is just a step below. I tell the kids that they think it's hilarious, but I'm like, hey, I'll listen to anything after 1750, kids. Mozart, nope, no, thank you. You can go back to Salzburg.
That's right.
So what? Okay, so the question being, what is the perfect on the list we have? What is what checks all the boxes? What gets a 10 out of 10 in almost everything? What is the perfect pop song for a children's concert? Larry, what do you think?
The perfect pop song.
Perfect pop, like the best one you've done. You go, I could do this. Other than the fact that the kids would say we did this last year. Like, what's one that you're just like, I'm probably going to program this in my concert cycle for the next 30 years, and then I'll retire.
I mean, I don't know when I'll do it again next, but A Million Dreams, that tune from The Greatest Showman was a real big hit. It starts with him as a kid singing it, so it's got connection that way. And then it halfway through, and this is in the movie, it's like him as an adult singing it then too. But I mean, that was basically like the theme of the whole show. And it's one of those looking towards the future. What am I going to be when I grow up? I have a million dreams running through my head. That kind of stuff. And so it's very inspirational with regards to like little younger kids, elementary school kids. And I mean, there's a few different arrangements out there. So like it's one of those where it's like do 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 do. Oh, everybody hush. Like, okay, let's listen to what's happening, there's a lot of musical nuance you can work on with the kids with that, and let them really sing their hearts out with it, because it's a decent vocal range too for them. So if I had to pick one, which I generally don't do any of this stuff, oh, what's your favorite this? What's your favorite that? I never can answer that question. But for you, I'll answer this question.
Sure.
A Million Dreams, I would say I would definitely do over and over again at least 3 or 4 times in the next 15 years.
Okay, well that's
Which
good.
is saying a lot. I mean,
I'm very unadventurous. So I'm not sure. We had someone write something. I'm not sure if that's from Kristen. I don't know. I'm not familiar with that. If you want to clarify.
Oh, did you post something? I'm sorry. I was trying to look on your Facebook.
Oh no. Are you able to see the stream, Larry?
Oh yeah, I know. I do know comments. Oh gosh, I've had it on the private chat side.
Oh well, there you go. I mean, that's
VYN. I don't.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what we're trying to.
What is VYN?
So yeah, if you want to clarify, thank you for contributing. So I'm a big again because I don't know pop tunes. But I feel like for me, the one that checks every single box, and I just go, wow, what a great tune is How Far I'll Go from Moana.
Yes,
it works. I mean, it works. It just checks all the. We'll pop this back up. It just checks every single box. Musical qualities. It's a great tune. It is a really, 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 really good tune. I've only seen part of Encanto. I think I know that the Bruno song is just a monster song right now. But I like the music better from Moana better than I like the music from Encanto.
Well, I don't know if you saw. I mean, because we're Facebook friends as well. I did post about the Encanto thing, and I don't want to like draw ire from people because I have listened to things again, and I do appreciate it even more. It's not that I didn't appreciate the first time, but I think the hype was built up so much that I was like, wait, what? Like this is great content. The story's great. Everything's awesome. But I think the thing for me with these tunes from this movie is they're specific to the story. They're relevant to the story. Whereas like Moana, How Far I'll Go. Well, yeah, it says there's a line that meets the sea and all that. And she's talking about, going on the sea. You can relate that a lot more to many other situations.
Yeah, I mean it's a song about
a guy named Bruno
becoming the person who you can become, right?
Right.
And that's what I say to the kids because immediately they go like, or this, or obviously, you run into the, obviously the beginning. It's like, well, no, it's not about Moana. You got to take it from you got to take a step further.
Yeah.
What is the song really about? And that's the other thing.
I mean, you can go with what Pocahontas with that kind of vibe too, with Mulan. Like there's tunes that came out of those movies at Disney times. I think that's a whole different thing. We could even just
definitely. Lyrical content, the lyrics, it makes sense. It's positive. It's got a good positive message going through. Obviously, there's no innuendo whatsoever with it.
No, the music from Moana,
that's a Lin-Manuel Miranda one, right?
Yes.
And so that's, and again, it's also, there's a nice separation when it's from a movie, simply for the fact of, it's not that person singing it, so it's a character, so it's this, so it's that, so the writer has less of it, and does it make sense for the age? I think absolutely. It really checks a lot of different boxes, but I don't know. So
that one's the greatest hits on the karaoke track list for me. Like when we would have fun days or something like that at the end of the year, you'd have this kid sing it. Okay, let's have the 4 of you sing it together because we're not going to have like 5 of you in a row all singing at the same. But We Know the Way was another one from that team. That's one I did with my choir for an actual concert from Moana. So I'm with you there on that. But yeah, the content with the newest stuff in Encanto, I'm going to do the Family Madrigals probably, which is the opening number. But again, it's related specifically to that show.
It's related to what's going on is what's going on. Well, that's we don't talk about Bruno. That's the one thing I'm like, it's like this seems very specific to what is currently happening, and if with no context, it's just like I mean, and I think that's the thing with no context, you can't extrapolate much beyond that. You know, Bruno is a very literal person who they do not talk about. Again, I've only heard the song now once because I don't understand music. But yeah, yeah, that to me would be a one where maybe I would do it. I don't. I'm not clamoring for it. I'm not like currently, rushing out and saying, okay, what's the best arrangement?
That one has literally made the airwaves like of FM radio. Now it's number one on the top 100 for US right now too.
So Larry, do you have any final thoughts? I guess we'll wrap it.
We gotta wrap up.
Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Again, I'm gonna give it a real go of doing the live stream thing, and see use it along for the ride.
No, nothing really. I just am looking. I have the song "Sing" from Pentatonics. There's a neat arrangement out there for that, and that's a whole nother. Could talk about a cappella and all this. But final thoughts. I really appreciate you having me on. It was really fun. Wasn't the initial topic I thought we were going to talk about when we initially talked about me like coming on with you one of these times. But I'm glad we still did it. And I realized I had lots to say.
Originally I was going to have Larry to talk about Orff and the Orff philosophy and Orff instruments. And then I started looking that the concert was coming up. And then I realized that this is what I needed for me. This was for me, Larry.
Hey.
This is so no, I appreciate it. But absolutely. So that is it. And hopefully if you stuck around to the end, good for you. I don't know if anyone's gonna be doing that. I think it's just us chatting right now. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the questions and stuff like that. And like I said, I'm gonna be doing this every Thursday. I'm sure Larry will hop on again. We'll try to have some other people, or I'll just yammer on. So all right.
Thank you, John.
All right, have fun making music, everybody.